Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. And we have another edition of the Jar of Destiny series. This is Mike's pick. I believe this is the American Stout.
Yep.
From our friends at the BJCP. This is the 2015 guidelines,
yes.
Not 2025.
Yep.
That's not happening. Anyway, 20B.
20B, sir.
All right, well, let's talk about the American
Porter
Stout.
This is the American Stout.
I see.
So, full disclosure, right?
Please.
This is a style that I just really don't like. Mainly because, historically speaking, in the early days of having American Stout, I really think that like brewers, most craft brewers, certainly ones that were having distribution, or the bigger ones, tended to be more West Coast. And so matching up roastedness, stoutness with like really piney
hops,
bitter hops, I just never cared for it. But then the more I read about it, the more I started thinking about all the American stouts that I've had over the years, realizing there's a lot of room to play here. So I figured,
let's play.
That's what I'm going to do. We're going to play.
Let's play.
So, so I was targeting somewhere around 6% alcohol. Wanted to be somewhere above 1060 for starting gravity. But I want it to be, being an American Stout, it should be bold in some level of hop presence and should be bold in that stoutness. So that's sort of what I was going for, versus a lot of stouts I make more English style where I'm looking for a little more balance of certain characters. But okay, so let's just run down the recipe here. So this is for a 3.5 gallon batch. This is raw pale malt, about 3 love, 6.75 pounds. Chocolate malt, 450 Lovibond chocolate malt at 4.8 ounces. Roasted barley, 550 love, 4.8 ounces. Then this is where the twist sort of comes in to add a little life to it. I did just 3.6 ounces of honey malt.
Yep.
I was, sort of staying away from some of your traditional crystal malts, just right. Yeah. There is then about half a pound of table sugar because I wanted to make sure I dried some of this stuff out. Being that I was only going to be at 60-something%-ish of base malt, I wanted to make sure all these other specialty malts weren't going to hold up my final gravity. And I don't remember exactly why I want to do this, but again, I just wanted to turn the screws a little bit on it. There's 2 ounces of molasses in here because I just wanted a touch of that. I think maybe originally I was probably looking for some brown sugar. We didn't have any brown sugar in the pantry, so
that's what you got.
2 ounces of molasses, 8 ounces of table sugar. The molasses is relatively, I mean, it's going to sort of ferment out, but whatever. Hops. So this was 60 minutes addition. I did a full ounce. Remember, it's 3.5 gallon batch, but I did a full ounce of nugget. So bitterness, want some bitterness in there. And then it's a full ounce at flame out of Azaka. Just sort of something different. A little fruity, a little whatever. Certainly American, right? An American presence. I went 60 minutes on this at 145 Fahrenheit for the mash, and then I stepped it up to 155 for another 25 minutes, slowly ramping from 145 to 155. So trying to maximize fermentability. I fermented this at 65 degrees for about 10 days, and then it got ramped up to about 70 for another 10 days just to make sure I got a good, strong finish.
Sure.
I'll tell you the yeast in a minute. The water chemistry on this, so calcium, this is parts per million, 83 of calcium, 6 parts per million of magnesium. I love the magnesium. 24 ppm of sodium, 141 of sulfate, 56 of chloride, so I'm favoring the sulfate there, and 71 ppm of bicarbonate. That's where a lot of the sodium's coming from. Okay. So the so I was trying to favor the hop bitterness here and balance out the rest of the flavors. The yeast on this was actually a relatively new yeast. This is Lallemand House, which is a new dry yeast strain that I wanted to try for this. This yeast, one package for a 1061 OG, within 2 days, I mean, it was pleasantly cranking along, even at a relatively cool temperature, 165. It never slowed down until it basically came to a stop. The gravity was basically there. I bumped it up to the 70 degrees just to make sure it would finish. And it stayed at that 70 degrees for the 10 days just because I had other beers going too. And I just let it go. I brewed this a while ago because I wanted to make sure it was finished. I wanted all the stouty flavors to sort of merge and melt together. in this beer. So
What is the house strain about?
I think it's some sort of like, it's an Englishy strain, but it's supposed to be a clean English strain, fast fermenting, well flocculating, but not a lot of the ester qualities you get from other English strains. So it's sort of like, has some English lineage, but it's
Performs American-ish.
pretty clean. Yeah. More experimentation is required.
Okay, well, let's talk about this beer. Nice head, tan head, I would say OPEG. Very dark beer. I mean, I don't see any highlights. Very good. When I was trying to pick out this one aroma note,
Yeah.
and it's the molasses.
Think so?
Do you smell like sweet? I was going to say, there's a sweet smoke off this. It's burnt sugar.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's interesting, even just being 2 ounces in like 3.5 gallons. So look at it as maybe being like almost like a quarter pound in a full batch. Once the sweetness is fermented away,
Well, you're left
with the rest of it. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I almost get like a tobacco leathery type.
I was going to say
thing.
I was going to say tobacco, but
Yeah.
it's not as strong as tobacco is for me.
No, but I could also I could understand why you'd think, be a little confused and think there might be a hint of smoked malt in there.
Yeah, but that's probably like melding with the roast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's intriguing.
that's what I was trying to figure out. And I wanted to say my first descriptor was there's sweet smoke on this, but
Yep.
it's just pleasant burnt sugar.
Yeah.
On the flavor, it is a nice melding of, that honey malt comes through because I'm like, there's something, he's got something in the grain bill that's bringing a little bit like high, like you said, you stayed away from the crystal, the caramel. That honey malt is in that 25?
Yeah.
It's like even higher than those 40 where you get those nice toffee notes.
Yep.
So I think you've solved the issue of roast and piney, or really bitter hop notes together.
Yeah.
Because that is a nice, it's like a mediator between the two.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to make sure everything's we're all going to play together nicely, right, in this beer. So for an American stout, this is something where, this is something to kind of savor and cherish. There's maybe because of, our shared history with American stouts, where we had to power through them. Because it was just overwhelming, you take the faders and you pull them up let's roast and, bitter hops.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subtlety to it too. And it's nice. It finishes dry. It's I don't know. It's a really nice example of American stout.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sold on loving it quite yet, but it certainly, I think, threads the needle between what I don't care for with American Stout and something that I can palate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was going to change anything, maybe I would balance the sulfite and chloride a little bit just to mellow out the way the hops are presenting. Because there's definitely, you can smell it, you can taste it. The roasted combinations here is a little bit, this bitterness coming from there as well as the hops. So getting those two things a little bit closer in line together, just so it's not such a drying bitterness, just more of a pleasant balancing bitterness. But then I'd probably find myself drifting too far back towards Englishy stouts.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
right?
I think you're going to stay on this line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's supposed to be bold. It should be. I've always just viewed American Stout as being something that you wrestle with. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be one where it overpowers you, but it's something where you and the beer are equals, and you've got to sort of, you know what I mean? It's just, so it should be bold. Yeah. It should be a little bit challenging. At the end, it should still be drinkable, obviously, but it should be something that you're asking yourself all the time, like, what is in here and why am I drinking this?
Well, because we're American and it's a stout.
Yeah.
What was the ABV on this again? Do you recall?
Yeah, I have it right here. It started at 1061, came down to 1013, so that's just over 5%.
Oh, okay.
I mean, oops, sorry, wrong page.
Oh, boy.
1061 down to 1012, 6.4%.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah. So I mean, that's right where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
I mean, you can push this all the way up to 1070 if you want. I think some brewers, a lot of brewers, commercial and home brewers, just American Stout, so they push it 1075.
Yeah.
They want like 7% or something.
Yeah.
That's really probably dipping into the low end of like Imperial Stout.
Of course.
You know, if that's still a thing, you know. But I had no desire to do that, because we'll drink 2 of those and that'll be that. You know what I mean? Because I just prefer lower ABV. So 6%, 6.5%. That's like where I want to top out.
Did we already do an Imperial Stout with the jar?
Yeah, we did our tasting.
That's right.
Right? So the 2-year tasting.
Yes, and we compared and contrasted.
Yeah.
It was different.
Interestingly, how that beer, which has a lot of stuff going on to it, but leans a lot more English in terms of its presentation, is smoother than this. I mean, this is lower ABV and stuff, but I think the flavor profile of this would sort of beat that stout up, right? But that's what it's supposed to do. It's American Stout.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's supposed to be bold. It's supposed to be
True that.
bold. The roast character to me should be bold.
It is.
Right?
It is. And I think the addition of the honey malt and the molasses brings a nice nuance to it.
And there's no raisin in this. Like, I think when you have some of those caramel notes, you're trying to get toffee, but roast in some of those crystal malts, and if you pick up just a little bit too much oxidation, then it gets raisiny. It gets weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dark fruit thing can settle in.
Yep.
Which is okay in the larger stouts, but not in this one. Not in this one.
Yeah. It's sort of like a sweet tea, meaning, what I mean by that is, you can add sugar to tea and it just tastes like sugar tea. But when you really make traditional, like Southern sweet tea, there's something about that much sugar in the tea that the flavor profile totally changes. And I think that when you add caramel malts and stuff like that to a huge stout, you somehow get away from it could get raisiny, then you get away from it
pretty quickly
once you push through it.
Yeah.
You know, in a big stout. Probably because there's so much base malt there to help hold it up.
Cool. All right, another round of the jar complete.
Jar.
Thanks, Jar. We'll be choosing our next styles next week.
Yep.
Very good. All right, well, thanks for watching. We appreciate your time and attention to this matter. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week for John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.